Hello, hello, hello. We are live and in color. Sorry for being a couple minutes late, but hey, we are here and that means we're on time. So we'll give everyone a second to join while you share it out as you join, and I'm going to do the same thing on my end. And we're going to hop right in. I'll tell you why you're here, why you should come back, and what we got going on in exactly a month from today.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that, and I am definitely looking forward to today because it's a lot of good tea that's going to be poured. So, Soneakqua, do you hear an echo now? Are we good?
No, I think we're good. I
Okay,
think I
awesome.
agree. Perfect.
Perfect. So I am sharing this out, so I hope that you all are as well, because as I always say when I go live, you just don't want to be stingy with the goods. We got to share these out with everyone so that they have ample opportunity to get the same information that you're getting.
Can you still hear me?
I can. So
Okay.
we're good to go.
Okay.
So as you all join, give us some hard love. Let us know that you're out there. And we will be getting started momentarily. Again, if you're joining, make sure you share this out to all your loved ones, your friends, your family, and your foes. And I have one more place to share this. And we are going to get right into it. Okay. So, are y'all ready for all these goods? Because I don't even know if I'm ready to give it to you. Because this is going to be a mouthful, but hey, by the end of this thing, meaning the end of this month, going into the live event on June 1st, everybody will be well aware, if you haven't already been tuned in to all the posts and everything going on about the intentional living high tea movement, right? So, first things first, I'm Dr. Jatan Dorsey. If you don't already know me, I am a 4-time best-selling author, speaker, life and business coach, professor, corporate leader, and founder of the Commend Her Network. Lord, that was a mouthful.
Wow.
If you think that's a mouthful, wait until I introduce who I'm interviewing today. So again, if you're just joining us, make sure you share this out. Make sure that you are giving us hard love, thumbs up. Let us know that you're there. Because we love to have an engaging audience so that we're not just talking to ourselves,
Absolutely.
Talking to the air. So make sure that you tune in, talk to us, let us know if you have questions as we go along. You can catch me, of course, on Facebook, because that's where you're watching now, on Instagram and Twitter at DRJATUN. So I'd love to remain in contact with you as well, even after the whole virtual tea and the high tea. So you may be asking at this point, what is she talking about with this intentional living and this high tea and this virtual tea? It's just too much going on. Well, I'm glad everybody is wondering. So here's the thing. Every year I host an annual intentional living high tea. Each year there's a different theme. Leading up to the event that occurs every year, the first Saturday in June, we do a virtual tea. And during that virtual tea, which is what's occurring today and kicking off today, I typically interview a super friend, a business boss, right? A business beauty, whatever you want to call them. And we talk about things along the lines of the theme for that year. And again, the theme this year is the arrival. So I am so excited to talk about what that truly means, to unpack it, because some people are like, wait a minute, I'm loving that thing, but they're really not sure what it really means. Or they may say, hey, I already arrived, girl. I don't even need that information because I'm here. But have we got some news for you either way? So again, make sure you keep tuning in. I've also shared in, I think I already typed it in. If not, I will do that shortly. But I'll share with you the link so that you can purchase your ticket, because again, we want you at the live tea as well. Now, real quick, before I go into more details and introduce our interviewee, couple more things. We have a few sponsors and vendors that will be and or have supported the intentional living movement. And that is curls. Everybody knows curls. If you got that natural hair, I know I got mine straight today, but I use curls as well. We got Mary Kay, Arm Candy, Delicious Scrubs, True Boutique, and another boutique. I failed to add the name here, but I can't remember the name. We'll make sure we mention that before we drop today. But thank you all for the support and the sponsorships. We are looking forward to more of you joining this movement because, again, it's something that you just do not want to miss, whether you're a sponsor, vendor, donor, or attendee. Now, the arrival. So, back in the day, I'm just saying, back in the day, hey, Arkita, hello, Floyd. Thank you all for joining. Make sure you share it out. Tell your people about it so they can tune in as well. So the arrival, back in the day, you know, we didn't necessarily have a GPS. We didn't have mobile devices, right, to help us get from point A to point B. But now that we do have that, right, we have options, right? We're moving past being oppressed, and we got these options. So now we're so stuck to these things right here, these mobile devices. We can use it for just about anything. So when we type in, even if you're still using a GPS, either way, you type in the address and you get to point B, and your GPS says what? You have arrived at your destination, right? And we trust and believe that that is true because we can look around and see, oh yeah, I'm at Chili's, I'm at Papa Do's, I'm at wherever it is that I intended to be for my point B. However, in life, we don't typically have that you have arrived message to let us know that we've shown up. And some of us are struggling, some of us are not, or some of us have arrived and some of us feel like we haven't, but we really have. So it's an entanglement of things and feelings and thoughts that we can unpack from that whole theme of the arrival. And that's what we're going to do today and throughout this month. Each week, we're going to have a new interviewee. Each of them are hot off the presses. And I'm so excited. So let me not belabor this any longer. Let me introduce today our interviewee, who is Soneakqua White. She is in the mental health field and has been for over 14 years. She has a degree in psychology with a minor in child development and family and consumer science. She's also completed her master's in counseling. Her credentials as a licensed professional counselor were granted at the Texas Board of Examiners in 2006. She is also the owner of At the Table Counseling, which she started a private practice in 2009 and then eventually transitioned into full-time practice in 2011. From there, with her practices, she currently serves adults dealing with issues ranging from the needs of behavior modification to severe depression and anxiety. She's also certified in wellness. So listen to that. We got some mental health and we got wellness. All that together. So this is perfect. Not only that, Soneakqua is also an author. And she has 3 books, it looks like. Her first novel is A Time to Heal that was released in 2017, followed by Red Flag, which I believe is the one that I shared last week.
Yes.
And then she also has a book called Writing is Life. Now, I love this last piece that I have to add in here. She is also a creator of a course called Working Through Mommy Issues. I'm just saying, I got a family. People always talk about daddy issues, but what about the mommy issues too, right? So without further ado, everyone say hello, get some heart love, thumbs up to Soneakqua White. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, everybody.
So I know I spilled all the beans about you and your background, but is there anything that you want to add that you want to let the people know before we jump into our conversation?
Well, as requested, I did do the online course for the Working Through Mommy Issues, but probably by next week, there will be an actual book so that will come out. So they can either take the online course with the videos or they can have the workbook where they can do some of the things and write in it and all that kind of stuff. So that's another thing that's coming out too.
That is awesome. I just would love to even just take a sneak peek into that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what I want to do is, as I mentioned to you before, I wanted this to be a casual conversation, so people just feel like we're literally on your couch, right? And I guess that's ideal for your profession. Works out perfectly. But I'm just gonna, start by a couple questions since we're talking about the arrival. Um, Not even leveraging what I opened up with, but what did that mean to you? And what could you share with the audience that's listening as far as what arrival should mean, could mean, and might mean?
Well, I guess I would have to think about that in terms of your goals, your personal goals. So if you're getting to the point of arriving at meeting a goal that you have set for yourself. Now, I know for me, I have lots of them. So I tend to look at checklists like, check, that was
Yeah.
done. So I keep arriving. So for me, that's one of the big things is if you set something out for yourself to go for, to reach, and you've gotten there, you've made it, that is one arrival.
Mm, that's good. And you mentioned something that kind of taps into what I like to say as we progress through and keep talking about the arrival is always be arriving.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, some of us may feel like, oh, I haven't achieved this, so I haven't arrived, right? Or I
Mm-hmm.
haven't obtained this and I've been praying about it. And so you tend to beat yourself up about not achieving the thing that you thought it should be. But there's more behind it. So I want to
Yeah.
ask you also, when we talk about arriving, would you say that arriving is obtaining material things, or is it more of a sense of a feeling that people are looking to obtain?
I think people might look at it as material, but when they get to those material things, the feeling is not there that they thought they might have. So I would say if you're going for that arrival, it needs to be the feeling, the self-fulfillment, when you get there. Because
Right.
if you get there and you've just reached something, you bought a car, you bought a house, you bought a boat, whatever that is, and you don't have those emotions really attached to it for just that day you bought it, then you may start having a problem and feeling like you didn't arrive, or maybe
Right.
you arrived in the wrong place.
Mm. So you thought you were going to point B, but you ended up at C, and you're like, wait a minute, not quite what I intended.
Uh-huh.
Now, it could be some of the things that if we use the analogy again of a GPS, if you're typing it, you mistype a zip code, a number in the zip code, right? Or a number in
Mm-hmm.
the address, and you're
Mm-hmm.
wondering, how did I end up here?
Exactly.
And it's the same way in life, right? It could be that one tweak, but when we are typing in that address and we get to the wrong address, people don't typically just give up because you have your point B in mind and you know where you want it to be. So
Yes.
we go ahead and retype that address, look into our GPS and see what happened.
Yes. Rerouting.
Rerouting, right? Let's figure this thing out because I'm not where I thought I was going to be. I had an appetite for some crab legs, and I am at, I don't know, a donut shop. So what's really going on?
Yes.
Okay, so that is great. That is great. So tell us about a time that you fell short of arriving, or at least that you felt like you did, and then how did you overcome that, whether it be love, life, or business?
Okay. I'll go with business because that's on the top of my mind. But, when I first jumped out and went into private practice, meaning leaving a job where I was making for sure money for I don't know money.
Oh,
Well, I thought that was an arrival. And I was like, wow, I finally got into this private practice. And then I realized, oh my goodness, where are the clients going to come from? Some of that stuff that I didn't really think about.
yeah.
And so I had arrived in my head what I had, looked at 5 years ago as getting to. But by the time I got there, that thing had changed. So I did arrive at a goal that I set. But when I got there, I realized that I needed to do some more stuff.
Mm, wow, that is good.
Mhm.
Oftentimes we even look at other people, since we're talking about business and your story that you shared. It's easy to look at other people, especially now with social media, that have businesses or at least say that they have businesses, right?
Right. We don't really know.
Right. We don't know what's really going on,
Uh-huh.
but it looks good, right? And you think,
Right.
oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Or right now the going thing is coaches and speakers, and people think they can easily jump on that. It may not be your thing. So how does a person work through identifying exactly what it is that their point B is?
Well, I think you probably always have something in mind. It may be huge, like you may be planning to be an entrepreneur, but you don't know what the heck kind of entrepreneur you're gonna be. So
Mhm.
it's an ever-changing thing. Sometimes, fortunately or unfortunately, you have to be malleable. You have to be able to adjust, because if you have something in your head but you've never seen it, you don't know the process of how somebody else got there, your process may be different. So you need to be open. Even though you have that B in mind, you might have to go to Z to C and come back to B in some other kind of way and be okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. So your route may not be the same,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not always saying that you can't achieve or be that thing.
Correct.
I
Correct.
love that.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to talk about, I love your videos, by the way, when you do your little snippets.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, first off, you are just so calm with it, but you drop some bombs like you just wait. Did she just say that? Let me replay, let me rewind. So if y'all if y'all are listening and you don't already follow Soneakqua, make sure that you are, because she definitely shares a lot of great nuggets. So we actually met, I guess that was last year at
Yeah,
the
summer.
what's the conference? 30
The
what
WTF
WTF
after
after
30.
30. And we were both speakers there, and I remember you had the cast on your foot that at that event as well.
Yeah.
But listen, girl, you were walking across that stage, just gliding, and the words were just flowing, and it's like those singers that they look like they're doing it effortlessly, but the
Mhm.
power is coming out. That's what I experienced with your message. So
Wow.
I just love how you intertwine your expertise with those lived experiences. But
Mm-hmm.
back to my point of one of the videos I recently saw, I wrote down a note. You were saying you were talking about people seeking counseling, or
Mm-hmm.
better yet, people not seeking counseling.
Okay.
And you mentioned that you said a couple things. Two of the things that stood out was problems don't care about your faith or your religion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also mentioned um, that some people don't want to go to counseling. I'm looking at my cheat notes over here, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
That some people don't want to go to counseling while they're still praying. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to unpack those, because to me, that could be some of the things that hold people back from arriving, because they are holding themselves back with these thoughts that I think that you're going to unpack out of those comments there.
Okay. Well, and what I was talking about was specifically to believers, people who are believers of Christ, but any faith or religion or whatever. Sometimes we tend to think that, well, if we go and do something, that, okay, that means we're not trusting in God. So God may be telling you to do something, because faith without works is dead. He may be telling you to do something and you're not doing, you steady praying and he's giving you the answers, but you're not doing your part. So that's kind of what I was talking about, we're all going to go through some things, no matter what we believe, no matter what. I'm a therapist. I still go through stuff. It doesn't make me exempt from problems just because I know some things. We all know some things. But what I want people to understand about that is, counseling should not ask you to stop praying. You keep praying, absolutely, but it just gives you somebody to walk with you through the process while you're waiting on the answers to manifest. So it's not, counseling is not something that goes against your faith or anything like that. It should go along a side of it.
That's good. So we have to learn how to multitask and be
Basically,
right,
yes.
and be okay with the fact that there are things such as medicine or professionals or experts that have been created to further assist
Yes.
us along in
Yes.
our arrival.
Yes, I
So
tell people all the time, I don't believe that God put me through all of this training and took all these tests for me alone to say, okay, now I'm not going to see anybody.
right.
So everybody has a thing that they're passionate about, that they want to do. And sometimes problems and stuff just get in the way and it blocks you from getting to your passion sometimes. And all counseling is for me is the blockage remover. Maybe I can help you remove the block so that you can press forward with whatever you're trying to do. This counseling shouldn't be a detour. It should be something that pushes you through to where you're trying to get to.
Wow. Pushes you through to where you're trying to get to rather.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So then it's a part of the journey. And I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize and to consider when going on their journey to the arrival.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a challenge for many to just enjoy the journey while ultimately trying to reach point B, because there's going to be a process. And in that journey, to your point earlier, it may not be a straight route.
Yes.
Which it brings to mind today. I was trying to get to my point B. So I typed in the address, and this GPS just kept taking me in circles. And I'm like, wait, I kind of know which direction I need to go in,
Mm-hmm.
but this is just not working out. And I swear I was going in circles, not really circles, but not really getting out of the area that I was in.
Right.
And sometimes that's how we go about our journey in life.
Yes.
And it's difficult for many to accept that or even learn to navigate through such a thing. So what are some tips that you would give someone that is, working through some twists, some turns, some barriers, and looking forward to achieving a certain thing?
I would say, I tell people all the time, think outside of the box. Whoever put you in the box, if you put yourself there, take yourself out. If they put you there, put them in and go ahead and keep going. But sometimes you do have to think outside the box, even if it's never been done before, or if you've never seen it, then maybe you're supposed to create it. So you don't have to do it something exactly the way you don't necessarily have to go their route, the route they're even telling you to take. Sometimes you need to step back sometimes so you can see sometimes it's actually in front of you, but you're trying to do so much stuff, you're losing it and everything else. So you just need maybe sometimes somebody to say, hey, I think you got this. Just sit still for just a second and see what it is that you really need to do. And think it's okay to think outside the box. If nobody's ever done it before, so what? Try it.
Right. I think that's a good point too, because oftentimes we're afraid to find the gap and stand in that, right? We're
Yeah.
always wanting to do what's comfortable, what seems safe.
Yes.
And most of the time, most things have already been done, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's kind of hard for others to kind of step out of the box and arrive at their own conclusion. Because
Yes.
for one, that means you got to step out and be innovative. You got to be creative. You got to commit.
Yes. And you can't always fit in. If you're a creative, if you're want to be a business owner or whatever, you won't fit in. I'm sorry. You will not fit in. So you have to be okay with being different. It's not weird, just different. And go ahead and be that, whatever that thing is. You're not trying to fit in anymore. We're not in middle school, unless you really are in middle school, but even then you don't fit in. I knew as a kid I was different. I didn't like being different, but I was, and I had to grow into understanding and accepting that. And that's part of the reason why I am where I am now, just being okay with doing my thing.
Absolutely. That's good. So then when we talk about the ultimate destination for any individual, it makes me also think about the book Becoming,
Mm-hmm.
where at the beginning, I think she had mentioned something to the effect of she kind of dislikes the fact that people ask the question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Okay.
When in fact, it's really not a certain point in time that you should just say, I have achieved this thing. And it's ever evolving, that you're becoming or that you're arriving at a particular place. So for laughs to start off, what when people asked you when you were younger, what did you want to be? What was your response, and how does that compare to where you ended up current state?
Well, couple of things. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatrician. but something kind of intervened in that process. So that's what I used to tell people, that I wanted to be a doctor. I'm going to go to Baylor University and I'm going to go to medical school and all of that. And one of my best friend's mom told me, are you sure you want to go to Baylor? Don't you think you should pick an easier school? What? Who says that? But
Right.
I actually say things like that. But what happened that kind of, turned me into psychology was that the year before I graduated, my oldest cousin was murdered trying to come out of a domestic violence situation.
Wow.
And so when I took my first psychology class at Baylor, that just shifted everything for me. I didn't realize it then. Of course, as I've grown now, I realized that was kind of the shift. But when I was a kid, my mind was on being a doctor, a pediatrician.
Mm.
But I was shifted into basically my destiny, my passion, my thing. I don't think I would have been as happy being a pediatrician. I could have done it, but I don't think that was really the route I was supposed to go.
Right. And then how did you, at the time of realizing that you really didn't want to be a doctor, like, how was that transition, that mindset transition for you? Because oftentimes we as humans as well, we get our mindset on something, we're pretty much married to that idea. And because it changes, or because whatever situations, culminate to make us go a different direction, we feel like now we failed because I told everyone, or I thought that I was going to be this, that, or the other. So how did you navigate through that change?
I think for me, because I was so young, it was a little bit easier because I was still 18 when that shift happened. So I think the younger you are, it might be a little bit easier because nobody is really expecting a lot from you at that point. It seems like once you've gotten a little older, then everybody is like, well, you said you were gonna be, and then you get all of that. But for me, I think it was a little bit easier. I think, and the support that I had, my mom is the kind of person that she thinks I can do anything. So when I said, hey, I think I want to go into psychology instead of medicine, she said, okay. So sometimes just having that one person, it doesn't even have to be a bunch of people, one person to say, you got it, that can make all the difference for someone. And I think it did for me.
Wow. And so to the contrary, if a person doesn't have that one person.
Woo!
Right.
That's a big one. I get a lot of those into my practice every day. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the Working Through Mommy Issues, because I think a big part of it is those people closest to you, when they don't support you or understand you or anything like that, it makes it so difficult. And I have people that develop the I'm not good enough syndrome, is what I call it. But it comes from a part of that, not having anyone to support you. So that makes it a lot harder. And that's when I start talking to people about adoptive families. Go find you some group of other people or somebody else that all you need is one person sometimes to say you got it. And it doesn't have to be a family member, because unfortunately for a lot of us, it's not.
Yeah. Wow. So, Jen, you all for tuning in. Again, make sure if you're tuning in, share this broadcast out so some folks can tune in and get this tea that you're getting. I'm telling you, you can't sip alone. I gotta take me a sip. You can't sip alone. You gotta share, okay? So if you're just tuning in, this is the virtual tea for 2019. We are going to be here once a week through the month of May, leading up to the Intentional Living High Tea on June 1st. Every year, first weekend in June, same place, Western Dallas Galleria. Okay, so make sure you grab your tickets, and that link that you see floating across the screen is where you can grab your tickets for donors, for sponsors, for vendors, for attendees. All are welcome. So now back to our discussion here. Hey, Alfreda, thanks for joining. Thank you for joining. Make sure you all share this out as you're joining. So So we've been talking about the arrival and what that really means. Again, that is the theme for the Intentional Living Tea this year, whether it be the virtual tea or high tea. We are talking about the arrival. And what is the arrival, right? As you know, when we type in that address and your GPS is getting us from point A to point B. Point B may not always be where you ended up, right? So you may have that dinner at point B and you say, oh, you know what? I want to go to C now. And that's how we look at life. So there are many different destinations, and you should always, always, always be arriving. And we have our special guest here today, Soneakqua, and she is a counselor. She specializes in anxiety, depression for adults, and then she also is certified in wellness. So I'm just saying, you might need to tune in for a combination of reasons.
Mhm.
But we were talking about, becoming, so to say, and how you initially thought that you were going to be a doctor. And after a few experiences in life, you decided, you know what, this is not truly what I want to do. I'm really passionate about this thing. So you also earlier spoke about your business and how you initially started it out and maybe not considered everything that you should have.
Mhm.
So how does a person, I guess, navigate through those things, whether it be love, life, or business, but in a way that's effective for them, especially to your point earlier, if they don't have the support that they thought that they would have or the support that they feel like they need, because not everyone is fully capable of continuing along the journey alone, right?
Yeah.
And they need something, whether it be a person, a thing, or just, a sign to help
Mhm.
them carry on. So what is it that you share with your clients in that perspective if they're, trying to push through such challenges?
Well, and I always tell them to find something to grab onto, because a lot of times when you're stuck or you're getting ready to roll backwards into the wrong direction, you need something out in front of you that's keeping you going. The
Mhm.
the internal motivation is so very important, because a lot of times we focus on external. We want likes and loves and Facebook and social media and all that. They don't even know that some of that stuff is fake. Like, they're
Mm.
just so we're focused so much on external things. I try to get them to realize it has to be internal. Where is your motivation? So it has to be something that you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about it, if you're just doing something because you think it'll make you money, you probably are going to give up on it. But when you're passionate about it, you can be self internally driven, and you can keep going even when your people that you thought were your riders start falling off.
So then of one of your great videos, you mentioned counseling is not what is what you love. And I think that
Hmm.
that's many are challenged with as well, freezing. But
A little
a lot
bit,
of
yeah,
people
I
are
can still hear you.
okay, good. So a lot of people are challenged with that because, to your point, they're just trying to do or mimic what they've seen, and instead of
Hmm.
really digging in deep to see what it is that truly satisfies them. And it's
Hmm.
not really a passion of theirs, but it just looks good on somebody else. So
Right.
how does a person identify that thing, that niche for themselves if they're trying to find out what's my passion?
Okay. A lot of the times I have to take people back to before somebody told them they couldn't, or that's weird, or that's dumb, or why because so you might have to go all the way back to sixth grade.
Mhm.
What was it that you just loved and you thought you were going to do this, that, and the other, and it's still something that's probably with you right now. You just think it's not going to work, or you too old for that, or you have something in your head that's telling you no. Tell me what that is. And that's usually where I start.
Right. That's good. That reminds me, just in case anyone's tuning in as well, I also am a podcast. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. My husband and I do a podcast called Day with the Dorseys.
Mhm.
And one of our upcoming topics is actually in alignment with what you just stated. And that's, what story are you telling yourself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we allow that to control our lives.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that one moment in time 20 years ago, and now it's defining everything about me. So how does a person that's in that state move past that so that they can arrive? Because many people are just stagnant, right? They're stagnant because of them talking themselves out of greatness before the world can even tell them no once.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And something that I think is very important is that even if you only reach one person, meaning yourself, is worth doing it. So go dig out that old book that you were writing and you never finished, or whatever it is, go dig it out. Let me see it. I'm
Mm,
interested. So I can be the person sometimes to kind of kick it off. Let me see it. What you been doing?
mm,
And so you should see them light up just because I'm interested.
mm. That,
And from that point, sometimes that will kickstart somebody back into something, even if I have no idea what I'm looking at. If I'm interested, it gives them a chance to talk about it. Tell me about your passion and watch them just go.
right.
Yeah.
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 So just initiating those conversations, right? And just being a support to other people. You just never know what what small gesture you can do to just encourage people to keep going towards their point of arrival.
Yeah, that's one reason why I do the videos. Not everybody's going to come to counseling. Not everybody's going to come to see me as a counselor. So if I can reach more people by doing the videos or writing the books or whatever, if I can get something to you that gives you some kind of encouragement that somebody is saying, I see you.
Mm.
That's my point in doing any of it.
Yeah, I love that. So making the people that you encounter leave your presence feeling known is what
Mhm.
I'm gathering for what you said.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we don't do that. We don't spend time, especially with, again, those gadgets that we were talking about earlier. We get
hmm
so consumed in those
hmm
that we don't engage, human to human anymore, or not
Right.
as often as we should.
Right.
So we miss out on those opportunities to build those relationships, to encourage people, especially with so much that's going on in the world, right?
Yes. And that's why I know there's a lot going on with, technology and counseling and all of that. And I'm going to stay old school. I need you to come into the office. I need to see you because I don't know what you're doing. You could have another screen up over here while I'm watching you doing God knows what. So
Right.
I need to see you. I need to, so I'm going to stay that way with my clients. So that may keep me from growing in certain areas, but I think that is so important that we maintain some of that one-on-one, face-to-face, I'm with you type of thing.
Mm. So I also wanted to go into, and guys, again, if you are guys and gals, if you are tuning in, make sure you give us some hard love, thumbs up. Just let us know that you're out there because this is some juicy stuff. I'm just saying, we're talking about arriving and what that really means, right? You getting to your point B, but again, that's not the final destination. We are
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to additional stops along this journey we call life.
Absolutely.
And as we talk about that, as I say that, another thought came to mind. Like what I guess for achieving the various things in life, oftentimes we get so caught up in the next thing. And I gotta admit, raise my hand on this. I was gonna say was, but I might sometimes low key still be a little excited to get to the next thing. Like this whole time I could have been so excited about achieving this one thing. And as soon as I get it, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Guilty.
you're guilty too. See, I'm just saying, like I think it's a common thing amongst ambitious people.
Yeah.
And it's not so much a bad thing, but then at the end you tend to get exhausted after, being so overzealous about everything. It's not, again, it's not a bad thing to just be excited and anxious and, wanting to get things done and be an impact and influence to other people or things, even whatever your passion is.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say to, your younger self before really realizing that you weren't celebrating those moments that should be celebrated?
I would say definitely, even if the goal is this huge long-term thing, celebrate each step. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to spend a bunch of money, but recognize that you're still accomplishing, because sometimes people give up before they reach, because they don't realize how close they are to getting to the complete goal, because they're not checking off the small stuff. And so I would tell my younger self, yes, check, do the small stuff. Celebrate every time you do something that you really, really love.
Yeah, that is definitely a great suggestion, and it goes back to the whole idea of intentionality. At least the way that I look at it, which is why I'm so attached to that phrase. And then the thing is, many people tend to, uh, I would say, just throw the phrase out because it's become kind of cliche just to say being intentional, be intentional. But what does that truly mean? Actually, having intention is to have a plan, right? And
Mhm.
to your point of checking those things off, if you don't have that plan in place in the beginning, then you have no idea where you're going or what those milestones are to get
Mhm.
you to this ultimate goal.
Right.
How do you know, for one, to your point, how do you know when you're close to that goal if you don't have your plan in place to check off?
Exactly.
Right. And then to your point, if you stop, and you could be 2 steps away and not even know it.
Yes.
It's like not
Yes.
getting that degree, but you 3 hours short.
Yes.
You had
I
no
have
idea.
some people in that same, like, let me see your transcript. Girl, you just 6 classes away from this.
Yeah.
What? Come
Better
on, let's get
finish
this
that.
done. Yes.
Right. Besides, make sure that you are sharing this out. We have Soneakqua White, I'm Dr. Jatan Dorsey. We are here chatting it up. We are just getting you warmed up. I'm just saying, we're just getting you warm. Pot is brewing. It ain't whistling just June 1st. It will be June 1st. It will be whistling. Faith in the place, Galleria Dallas, because we are going to have a celebration. Is more than a celebration. It's actually an experience. And even with those that I'll be interviewing the month of May, they will be in the house as well. So if you want to meet them in person, I'm just saying, again, that's your opportunity to do so. So
Yes.
as we kind of wrap it up here, I don't want to hold the folks too long, nor do I want to give them all the tea. That's like writing a book and you tell them every word in the book. No, I'm gonna need you to go to Barnes and Nobles, grab your.
Yes.
So that's the situation. So for all the listeners out there, this is just an appetizer. You got to go to the tea on June 1st to get the full meal. So, Soneakqua, are there any final thoughts that you may have as we've discussed arrival from, a high level per se, and some of your experiences and some of the things that you've experienced with some of your clients as well? Any other thoughts that you'd like to add before we wrap this thing up here?
I would just say, don't give up. Don't kill your own dreams, and beware of dream killers.
Mm,
So, if you need to talk to someone, it's not that serious. It's not that bad, y'all. I promise it's not that bad. If you just need a couple sessions for somebody to say, hey, you can do this, just don't sit in being stuck, because you don't have to be stuck there. I guarantee you there's something out there that will help you. You might have to step outside of your box, your community, your church, whatever is holding you down to get to it, but hold on to it and get to it no matter what it is. Find
mm.
it.
She said, whatever it is that's holding you back, whatever it is that's holding you back, you got to shuffle that thing around so you can get to your goal, right?
Right.
I love that. I love that, Soneakqua. So, how can the listeners connect with you? If they want some more of you between now and the tea and even after the tea.
Okay. I am everywhere at the table counseling. So Facebook, Instagram. My website is at the table counseling. So everything you see at the table counseling.
Awesome. So make sure you all are following at the table counseling. Soneakqua White is there. You got to catch her videos, her awesome books, and then that book, that workbook that she got coming out. What is it again?
Working
Working
through.
through Mommy Issues, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
make sure you get that as well. Um, so I have the link on the screen yet again. If you are interested in attending the high tea, I will drop that in the comments as well. So make sure that you grab your ticket, not just for you, but for a friend, for a loved one, whomever else, right?
Yes.
Mother's Day is coming up. If that's your gift to mom for after Mother's Day, then do that as well. But make
Yes.
sure that you bring yourself and your willingness to arrive, right? Your willingness to explore what it truly means to arrive, and then also be open to continually arrive in love, life, and in business. So with that, we won't hold you all night because we're going to do this yet again on next Wednesday. So I hope that you'll be tuning in and looking for all the reminders, the friendly reminders on social media. Again, you can catch me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at DRJATUN. And you can buy your tickets. I have to read it out to you just in case you just don't see this crawling across your screen. It's that bit.ly/IL high T4. Okay. So with that, Soneakqua, again, thank you so much for your time today. It has been a great pleasure, just as I expected it would.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to having you at the tea as well. So
Yes.
we're going to close it out now, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you comment replay. If you're catching the replay, share this out. It's not too late, even after we end this broadcast. So as we've been saying all this time, always be arriving. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye.